and it is Arena. Okay, so that means Islands will be the 4th game, and it looks like it is Britain's for both players. Britain's, Viper's favorite civ, and this is going to be exciting. Britain's is also one of, I think, the viewers' favorite civs as well. Viper's here in the yellow again. In the purple, we have Vinchester, and keep in mind players can use a re, and the reason I mention this is because, well, Vinchester has a very forward gold, and he's up against the best player in the world who likes to use range units. But anyway, Viper's here. Let's look at his map. He's done very well thus far. He has a forward gold, but is not near as forward as Vinchester's. Apart from that, he does have a gold in the back he can use, and another one back here as well. Stone in his base here, and a stone in his base here. This is pretty much a perfect map for Viper, to be honest. Nothing can really disrupt his economy. Maybe his stone can be disrupted, but it's pretty nice for him. His deer can be lured in if he deletes some walls. I say that's a good map for him. Vinchester, meanwhile, he does have stone on the back. He has gold on the back. This is why Vinchester might not call a re, if he thinks about this, because he can use this gold for quite a while. Stone and gold in the back here as well for the late game if he wants to build TCs back there. Main stone here, and the gold there we already talked about. So it's not the worst map in the world from Vinch, now that I see this. There are relics out here. There's a triangle of relics. Also, there's a relic here, closer to Vinch, and a relic in Vinch's base. Also, there are deer over here Vinch could lure in. Maybe he can bring a sheep over here and open up the gate. But all in all, I think the maps actually aren't that bad after I see Vinch's gold. So, we'll see. Right now, let's talk about the strategies. There's 2 things you can see. I normally don't see Britain versus Britain in Arena, but there's 2 things you can see in a matchup like this. And Britons can normally go up on 27 or 28 pop, and you can build a castle on the front and go longbows and then try and collect the relics and then basically go up to the Imperial Age. Or you can choose to, you know, fast castle, start creating archers on the way up to the castle age, upgrade them to crossbows, and then try and collect the relics as well. So basically the longbows and the crossbows are there to try and pick off the monks. And with Britons, it's a lot easier because they have the added range. The castle strategy is normally seen when you're scared someone will threaten you with something, like maybe a siege and monk push. So I don't think we'll see the castle strategy. And that castle strategy, I just want to be clear, is not a castle drop. It is like a defensive castle. So I think we're going to see probably crossbows and then collecting the relics. That's just my prediction here. But anyway, I noticed Vinchester was using his scout to bring in the boars, and he's doing that again. That's pretty funny. I don't see that on Arena often. And the reason you don't... Oh, he's also weakening the boar with his TC. Okay. Don't kill it. Oh my gosh. I get so scared when someone does that. The reason you don't normally use your scout to attack the boar or lure in the boar on Arena is because sometimes you'll have scout fights in the middle, and he's immediately going to have to go back now, but maybe that'll help his build order. For those of you that don't know, you can weaken your boar with the TC, and then if the last hit is by a villager, then you can collect the food from it. But if the TC kills the boar, then it just withers away. So you have to be very skilled. And trust me, I've tried it, and I will never try it again. I've actually seen players on Nomad, like they'll have like 1 or 2 boars, and it's seen on Nomad a lot because you won't have many villagers, so you don't want to lose any HP. I've seen players on Nomad lose boars that way. You have to be careful, but it's a fun thing to practice. Roach says, I did that recently, but I didn't want to, and it died. Homa says, 6 vills, 2 TC shots. So, Homus knows. Hashtag Homus knows. But you can see both players are on 23 vills. Both players are building up their ecos to get to the castle age, and then we are going to see a big fight. Again, guys, I want to thank you all for being here. I can't help but think back to Masters of Arena 3, where having like 150 to 200 viewers was a lot for me. I mean, I'm not nervous or anything now. It's just exciting, but at the time, I would like look and I'd just be so freaked out, you know, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And just know it's not lost on me. And just thank you. I just have to thank you for the support. Viper's going up on 24 pop, Finch on 25, so that means there will be no castle build. Nice speech. Yes, get your feels out. Get the tissues, guys. Get the tissues. But yeah, these build orders are pretty much the same. Viper's just going to try and get up a little bit earlier. I am interested to see if they're going to go for crossbows, though, because I want to see if I've learned a lot. We'll see. 24 pop is pretty low, but looks like he's bringing in a sheep yet and a deer. That sheep was holding open the gate. I think Viper will be fine. Market Blacksmith. These guys are so good. Once you see the time to hit the Castle Age, some of you guys who, well, even myself, but some of you guys who maybe aren't the most experienced players, you're just going to be, your jaw's going to hit the floor, because it really is incredible. Anytime I see these guys, just fast castle. Just fast castle, not even do anything else, I am just blown away. Viper is going to bring food back from these guys here, and probably the farmers if need be, or the foragers, and he's going to click up. Now he is clicked up. You can see the time he's going to hit the Castle Age. 1440, that's a great time. That's a great time. Meanwhile, Vinchester, oh, he's actually going to sell stone. And he will be there a little bit later, but he will have one extra villager. To be honest, that one extra villager is helpful. That one extra villager will give him a little bit of extra economy. And there's not a lot in this one because Vinchester's up a little bit later. He has the extra villager, you know, whatever. Not a lot in this. It's just down to different strategies. I've talked to MBL a lot, and especially around Masters of Arena 3, and he tends to prefer the extra eco approach. That being said, MBL lost to Viper in Masters of Arena 3, so I mean, maybe Viper knows what he's talking about. Who knows? Back to the game. No barracks from either player, so you might just see a boom. No archers. I'm a noob. Vinchester is doing something that is surprising me, and he's not scouting his base. Or, sorry, outside of his base. And I talked about it. I talked about how he used his scout to lure in the boar, and how he couldn't run outside of his base then because he would lose his scout. Why is he not scouting? I feel like that's a bad decision. Scouting is so important in this game. Viper, meanwhile, he's going for a TC. He'll probably go for another one when he can, because Britons have cheap TCs. Monastery. And he has scouted the entire map. Almost to its completion. He just needs to get some other areas. So I don't get Vinchester's decision, but I assume he's just gonna boom up and 3 TCs right off the bat. The Vinchester's going straight boom, which is a risky thing, because if Viper chooses to go aggressive on this forward gold, then that's going to be bad for him. Vinchester didn't choose to go back to this gold, but he already put a TC there, and as Britons, normally you don't go aggressive, and there's no castle dropping with these civilizations, usually. But we have seen it from Viper in Game 1 and Game 2, where he would wait till like the late Castle Age, right when Vinchester lets his guard down, and then he'll drop a castle. So maybe, just maybe, that's what Viper will do this game as well. Unfortunately, on Arena, it's kind of a slow game. It's still very exciting, but for different reasons, because you have to focus on the economic side of things. And right now, Viper is, I think, in a good position because he's going for the relics first, and also he has a full HP scout. You'll notice Vinchester, he doesn't have a monastery. This is not typical Arena stuff, because if it gets to an hour into the game and you have 0 relics and your opponent has 5, that's a big deal. Viper's just going to get 1, and at this rate he will get all 5. But Vinch might try and pull a Viper, run out there and try and pick that monk off. Viper's running around, going to chase Vinchester back. It all goes back to that boar lore, man. It was T90. You know what, Carmen? I'm not sure, man. I do not know a T90. Small said, would it be smart for Vinch to extend his wall out to stop a castle being in range? I've never seen that, so I don't think so. No. I don't think so. I believe that if Viper's gonna put a castle here, it's gonna give him an advantage anyway. Like, let's say Viper had to build a castle here because there were rocks here or something, right? He builds a castle here, then he basically has free reign over this area because he cannot be attacked in front of the castle. So regardless, if Viper builds a castle back here, he has a pretty good advantage because he can attack in front of it. So my guess is if Viper chooses to go with a castle here, he's gonna need some support. He can't just go out with a ton of villagers and castle drop. You can't do that at this level. So he's probably going to get some military out first and then try and put a castle up there. Vinchester is banking on going for a full boom, which he is well ahead in right now, and doing some damage before the relics pay off. And he does actually have 1 relic in his base, so Viper's not going to have 5. But yeah, this is very interesting difference in styles. Viper's actually a lot more behind than I thought he would be in this boom. He's 12 vills behind right now. But the relics will definitely help him out. That means he doesn't need to have as many villagers on gold, and so on. I'm just very surprised Vinch hasn't done anything here. It wouldn't be such a huge investment to make some crossbows. You still have cheap TCs. I don't know. It's just normally what I've seen. But Vinchester's boom is incredible, guys. 4 TCs, and they are firing. I don't know if you guys remember, but in game 1 I saw Viper got early handcart, and normally if you get early handcart, your economy is a little bit stronger, but you delay your upgrades, obviously for the Imperial Age, and you know, any researches for other things as well. Viper's going for early handcart now. Vinch is probably going to not do that. Oh, I lied. Way to make me look stupid, Vinch. Vinch is going for early handcart as well. I was looking at Vinch's resources and I was thinking he was going to actually go for early imp and attack. But right when he completes this, he might be in a position to go for imp. He's going for monastery, and we might see a siege workshop or university. I guess the question is, what will Vinchester do in the Imperial Age? Because Britons, we know, they are good at one thing: archers. But if Viper knows that, Viper could go skirmishers, and even if he's in the Castle Age, he could defend from it.
Ready.
Maybe Vinch will do a mix of Arbalest and skirms. Uh-oh. Castle from Viper on the front. Okay. Defensive castle.
Grayton.
And Viper's resources aren't looking too bad either, so he'll probably click up to imp a little bit later, but his Vinchester's villager lead has been steady at 12 to 13. Viper sees that gold. He might be able to send out a couple longbows to disrupt that. Vinch is getting fletching and he's building a barracks now. I just feel like Vinch, like, he's on his way to the Imperial Age, and you never want to be in that situation where you're on your way to the Imperial Age and you're not creating anything to attack within the Imperial Age. And right now, Vinch does not have a castle. He's not even close to getting a castle up. He's just getting fletching. He just got fletching, as far as I know. He maybe wants to get an archery range out here. You can see he's desperately going over to stone right now. This is not convincing. I said convincing. Oh my gosh. That wasn't on purpose, but I just have puns in my blood. Convincing from Vinchester, because he's going to be in the Imperial Age. He's going to have like 3 military. Viper, meanwhile, he has siege workshops, and he has tossed out the monks onto the front. Couple longbows coming out, like I said, just to disrupt. I just feel like Viper is more comfortable with what he's trying to do here. He already has military. He's disrupting that gold. Vinchester did not lock down that gold. He had all the time in the world. So I guess Viper's gonna go longbows. Viper and longbows. That's good to see. Now, if Vinch maybe had castles up and could go trebs and had some support, that would be good. If he had skirmishers and arbalests, then I would say, okay, Viper building his castles on the front is a bad idea. But, I mean, it's pretty obvious to me that Viper is in a decent position because, you know, he's going longbows. He has more of them, and he'll probably toss out 2 trebs right away. That's my guess. It'll be 2-to-1 with castles. Soon 3-to-1. And Mangonel's here now as well. Oh my gosh, Vinchester. Surprise, surprise, friend. Kron with the sub. Welcome to the T90 Elite. Vinchester has no time to react to this. And Viper is just all over the guy. Going for a 3rd castle. Now, Vinch, again, he got to imp first, but what did he do with it? He didn't have any military coming out. Is he going to go for a castle down here? If Viper went for trebs right now, I don't think there's anything Vinch could do. Viper's getting yeomen, so that's going to give him that added range. They're not even elite longbows. But 6+3 range, 6+3 attack, 5+5 range. That's strong. They're actually, if you compare the HP, they're actually still a little bit below the arbalest, but trebs is what Viper needs now to go after the castles, or the archery ranges in this case might be a little bit better because Vinch is creating out of the archery ranges. It all depends. Capped rams, wise move from Viper. Capped rams, of course. Great meat shield. Again, I appreciate that sub, Kron. And also, I did actually recognize the bits from Mr. Longbows are always a risk because you can't create them as fast. And Viper doesn't have elite longbow, so this could be the one thing that hurts him. 35 HP versus 40 HP. Once you get elite longbow, it's worth it. He has a little bit of... Nope, sorry. Vinchester must have yeomen as well. I was gonna say he has a little bit of range, but he doesn't. Viper is now up on 2 villagers, but 2 villagers doesn't really matter now. Viper is up on 2 castles now, though. The thing with Arena is that the fights happen all at once sometimes, and Viper is pretty much preparing for that. He has capped rams queued up, just waiting, and both players are getting elite longbow. If you look at the military, Viper has more, and it's mainly siege. Capped rams are coming out. What's going to be important in this fight, I think, are the Mangonels for Viper. Behind his siege workshops, they can focus down those capped rams. Both players got elite longbow at the same time. So now Viper should have an advantage. He has more castles. Also, he's just waiting for these trebs to join the fight. Does Viper have the most relics? Yes, Viper has 4 relics as far as I know. But I'm not going to look away from this fight. Capped rams coming out. That's why I can't look away. Viper is probably going to push now because he has more rams. So, in a Brits war, you need to use your rams as a meat shield. And you can see that Vinch is attacking the rams. Viper's actually using his, or he was for a moment, using his longbows to attack the longbows of Vinch. Trebs out here from Vinch, that's a mistake. I think Viper has more rams here as well. It looks like it. Viper has military everywhere. Vinch is selling, which means he's desperate. Look at the amount of longbows from Viper coming out. They're everywhere. This is like an AI. That castle will go down. That's the forward gold from Vinch we talked about. He probably has no gold in the back left. Look at the military difference. 30 more for Viper. It's happening all at once, like I said. Viper is all over Vinchester right now. And with 4 trebs, more capped rams, I don't see this turning around for Vinchester anytime soon. You don't give Viper Britons. And, of course, it was team random, so it was a little bit of luck for Viper, but, man, that just happened so fast. And he has the relics as well. There you go. 4 relics if you wanted to see it. Vinch does have 1, but that monastery could go down. I assume Viper's just going to go for the castles. Vinch is building another castle right next to the one on the right, so that's going to go down quickly. Rams everywhere. Longbows everywhere. I hate to call games early, Well, let's be honest. I'm not calling it early. I feel like this game is just over. Viper will take out the castles with his longbows. With the way he utilizes ranged units, he will win this game now. Unless a miracle happens. A miracle from the sky. The bird shows up and saves Vinchester. I don't know. I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening for Vinch. And it's sad because he's a great player, but Vinchester is just too far behind. Look how many rams are coming out now, guys. Look at his resources as well. Viper's balancing his eco with its attack. Still, the capped rams are really important, and I think Vinch recognizes this. So he's still sending out rams, because if he can get rams in front of his army, he can actually turn around to fight. So Viper making a mistake here and attacking a farm. He's gonna go for this castle. He has to be very careful. But still, I think the sheer number of longbows and just trebs, everything he has, will win out. Plus skirmishers on the front helping him out a bit as well. It's got to be so frustrating for Vinch to hit the Imperial Age first, to do so many things right in these first 3 games, and to be looking at this. Like, this is him playing. I'm sure many of you play the game. This is him playing right now, and this is what he is looking at right now. It's not a pretty sight. Viper continues to send in more rams. And more longbows now as well. Viper likes to hold to a critical mass of like 40 longbows, and the rest will be siege. But credit to Vinch for hanging in here, man. He is not giving it up yet. I'm pretty sure I called it like 5 minutes ago. His elite skirms here. The rams are still coming out from both players. Here's the key. Viper's on this gold, by the way. He's gonna come out and destroy the siege workshops. Vinch is gonna have to make another siege workshop. That's gonna be in range of the longbows. Just awful. Just awful. Russia doesn't give up. Well, I think Russia's gonna have to give up here in a second. What play from Viper, though? I mean, again, it was just cleaner from Viper. Like, if you compare what Viper did to Vinch, it makes Vinch look like a bad player. But I think if you go back to the first T90 series, you'll just know that, like, Vinch is an amazing player. But Viper wins games because he can micro like a god, but his macro is even better. But still, Vinch is... I guess, you know, he has that gold back here. Maybe that's why he's still hanging in here, but... No, that is the game. He's calling the GG. Longbows in his base. That's quite a scene. Man. Viper. Is there even an idle villager here? I just don't understand how. I don't want to call him like. I mean, these 3 games have just been very impressive. There's some idle villagers. Like, I had to find a flaw. He just seems so comfortable with what he wants to do, and I don't know. It makes me feel bad. I'm like, I like to cast him, but at the same time, I'm like, damn, like, seriously. It just gets to me, you know? It just really gets to me. Viper, 144 units killed, 108 units lost. Largest army. That's like 45 longbows, the rest rams, maybe. There's the eco. Vinchester had a plan, but I don't know if that's the right plan against Viper.